Have you ever dreamed about having your own personal chauffeur? If you're not a millionaire, that dream might have seemed far out of reach, but in 2025, the Tesla Model 3 can get you very close to that dream. Hi, this is Joe from Scarff Ford. Today we're talking about this 2022 Model 3 Performance. Let's dive in. So the Model 3 Performance is a fantastic sedan. 0 to 60 a little over 3 seconds, blistering performance. It has dual electric motors, a motor in the front, motor in the back, making it like have two engines pretty much, providing diesel-like torque. It's like two little diesel engines. You have neck-snapping acceleration. There's only one gear, so there's no shift shock for the transmission. Doesn't have to hunt for gears. It's just a point-and-shoot high-performance sedan, putting many performance cars to shame. But on top of all that, this one is equipped with a full self-driving capability. So if we take a little look over here in the software screen, you can see over here it says full self-driving capability included package. So when it says included package, that means that the previous owner purchased it, spent $8,000 or maybe $15,000. It was actually might have been $15,000 back in 2022 for the full self-driving capability, believe it or not, but Tesla has reduced the price. So it's included with the vehicle, so when you transfer ownership, this will stay with the vehicle and transfer to the next owner. You don't need to pay $8,000 for full self-driving capability. You don't need to pay $99 a month because the software is with this vehicle and it will update and get even better. There are a few updates actually right now to download. So I have a 2019 Tesla Model 3 with full self-driving capability. I use it all the time. I had to run a lot of errands today. I had to run to Tesla. I had to run to the Tesla service facility in 5, drop off my dry cleaning. Then I had to go to Odessa Auto Auction, then back to the dealership. And when I had to do that today, the car was driving the whole time. I tell the car where to take me, and the car does the rest. I don't even need to touch the steering wheel. I usually have one hand here on my lap, and then I'm just sitting here. You still need to pay attention. It's not completely like having a personal chauffeur where you can take a nap and space out. There's actually a camera right here, which makes sure you're paying attention. So if you look at the screen too long, you'll space out, look at the scenery too long, or you get on your phone too long, that's going to say, hey, pay attention. And it'll tell you to wiggle the wheel a little bit to show that you are paying attention. If not, the system will disengage. And then if it happens too many times, Tesla will put you in the penalty box, and maybe for a couple of months you won't be able to use a full self-driving capability, and then they'll give you another chance. So pretty amazing system. I've had my Tesla for 3 years. 3 years ago, the full self-driving was not that great. It was pretty impressive for what it was 3 years ago. I'm not going to knock it. It was amazing because 3 years ago and today, there's really no other car you can buy that comes close to full self-driving. In fact, there are Teslas right now operating as robo-taxis pretty much in Austin. They have Teslas that pretty much are the same Teslas that drive off the factory. They don't have any fancy LiDARs or upgrades like those Waymo vehicles. And they do have a safety driver in the passenger seat, but there is no driver in the driver's seat. The car is operating like a robo-taxi. There are some caveats. Obviously, that one has some advanced software that Tesla's running, and it has a newer full self-driving computer. So this has the full self-driving computer 3. So right now, the latest and greatest full self-driving hardware that you can get is a full self-driving computer 4, which we didn't see in the Model 3 till it was in 2024 when it got a major refresh. So this is not going to drive as good as some of the Teslas with full self-driving hardware 4. I have hardware 3 in mine. It's really amazing. 95% of the time it does things perfectly. I rarely have to intervene. Literally, my commute every day, I don't hardly ever have to touch the steering wheel. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's personal preference where, I get too impatient, so I'll put the turn signal on to encourage the vehicle to lane change or something like that. Or maybe someone's trying to merge and I just hit the brakes to let them merge. I don't want, to think I'm rude. Things like that. But for the most part, this car is not going to crash or get in an accident. It might annoy people. It might make some mistakes, but the full self-driving, even with hardware 3, is really good. And here's the deal too. Tesla has promotions. So if you buy this Tesla with the full self-driving, even though this is an older Tesla, maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, Tesla will have a promotion. Hey, if you buy a brand new Tesla and you already have full self-driving in your old Tesla, we'll transfer it to your brand new Tesla at no additional cost. So that might be a way, to get it on a newer Tesla with newer hardware. Nothing's guaranteed. You know, obviously Tesla has stipulations on transfers and stuff like that, but they had those programs in the past. I don't think they have anything currently running like that right now as of August of 2025. But whenever they want to encourage people to buy more new Teslas, like at end of the year push or end of quarter push, I've seen that incentive come out quite often. But even with like hardware 3, it's pretty amazing. I don't know, honestly, I don't know if with hardware 3, if it's ever going to get to the point where this vehicle will be able to truly drive itself without being supervised. It might. Nothing's guaranteed. It might need a hardware upgrade. Tesla's actually talked about retrofitting a newer computer into these older hardware 3 vehicles. Even if that's not the case, with how good it is now, it is pretty amazing. It is almost like having your own personal chauffeur. It's kind of more like having your own personal 16-year-old who's a new driver who kind of does fine, but you can't not pay attention. You have to just monitor things for the 5% of the time where you need that parental intervention. Hey, look out! Hit the brakes! kind of the thing with this one. So the majority of the functionality is in the screen. It is infinitely reconfigurable. There's no hard buttons and knobs. Hard buttons and knobs are there forever. This is constantly changing. The first Model 3 came out in 2017, and things like blind spot cameras, full self-driving capability, a lot of these things like being able to watch Netflix, Hulu, a lot of these video games, dash cam, Sentry mode. A lot of these features, the whole look of this display is completely different when these Model 3s first came out in 2017. But the over-the-air updates has kept it relevant. It's kind of like having a smartphone. This is like a supercomputer or a smartphone on wheels. It's a robot on wheels, literally. Operating on full self-driving, this is like a semi-sentient living creature because it's not getting beamed instructions. When this car is on full self-driving, it's navigating through a very complex world of vehicles and buses and pedestrians and construction zones, and it's not getting beamed instructions from Tesla. It's thinking and it's making decisions and reacting to the world around it completely on its own, kind of like an animal. Maybe not like a dog, but maybe like the intelligence of a bug or a bee or something like that, or a spider. But it is really truly amazing. So yeah, these over-the-air updates have kept it relevant. And just like when you have a older iPhone or something like that, when you get a new iOS update, even though your iPhone's 5 years old, you can gain new features. You can get better. Same with this. So even my Tesla's a 2019. Mine's not brand new. I have like an older processor. I don't have all the features and hardware that this one has, but for the most part, a lot of these features, about 85% of the features and functionality of the screen, the look of it, I have in my 2019 Tesla, thanks to those over-the-air updates. And Tesla was one of the first manufacturers to come out with these over-the-air updates back in 2012 with the Model S. A lot of companies have followed suit, but I haven't seen anyone push out over-the-air updates, fixes, improvements. It seems like every month there's an update that adds functionality, improves the safety, fixes bugs. Tesla, they're kind of like a tech company. Well, a lot of other manufacturers aren't so much. A lot of other auto manufacturers are great at making the mechanical bits, but when we interact with the infotainment systems or the amazing Tesla mobile app, which is a completely different story too, we can tell that there are things to be lacking. Tesla truly is not just a manufacturer. They make amazing, efficient factories, but they have amazing technology. And there's a whole synergy to this vehicle that a lot of other vehicles don't have, because Tesla is vertically integrated. So a lot of these components and computer chips and systems, a lot of these Tesla builds in-house as much as possible, so there's no supply interruptions, supply disruptions, things like that can affect production. So the vehicles have a whole synergy to them, unlike any other vehicles. We see a lot of recalls come out in vehicles, like for backup cameras. Like, there's one vehicle that has a recall for a backup camera, and it's taking a long time to fix it because the manufacturer doesn't actually make the backup camera. A third-party company makes the backup camera. So when they find out there's a problem, they have to get on the phone and call that manufacturer who made that backup camera. Yeah, we're having a problem with the backup camera. We have a recall out. We're gonna have to do a firmware update to have the computer, to have a better contact with the vehicle's central processing unit, blah, blah, blah. And then that manufacturer will say, okay, yeah, we'll write some new firmware. We're about, we'll get that to you in about 60 to 90 days. Where Tesla built the backup camera themselves, and they can roll out a firmware update and an over-the-air fix in 3 or 4 days. That's what we're dealing with here. A completely different approach in, you know, the functionality and the building and engineering of a car. Man, I can really ramble on about these Teslas. We have the nice all-season mats, aluminum pedals. The Performance also has a more aggressive wheel and tire package, larger brakes, a lowered performance suspension. I love the minimalist styling of the Model 3, very nice looking vehicle. No engine up here, we have a frunk, so you have more storage space. It's also like a safety feature. You have all the space to absorb crash energy in a frontal collision. So you have a crumple zone that's about 60% larger than the crumple zone in a gas car with an engine in it. So you have all that space to absorb crash energy. The Model 3 is also very spacious. It's considered a compact sedan, but since there's no drive shafts, there's no gas tank, exhaust systems, it really frees it a lot of space. So you have more space in a Tesla than a comparable gas-powered compact vehicle. I love these big glass roof panels along the natural light inside. Beautiful premium white interior. We have a power-operated trunk. More storage under here. So these are sunshades. So basically, they fold out and you can insert them into the glass roof panels. So when it gets too bright out, it kind of just cuts down on the sun on hot days. I have them in my car. It really makes a big difference, and you can just put them away in the wintertime. Also, the Model 3 Performance has a little carbon fiber spoiler. So the Model 3, you're gonna save gas. So you're gonna save on gas with electricity. We have some of the lowest electricity utility rates in the whole entire country, because luckily us here in the Pacific Northwest, we get our energy from hydroelectric. And on top of that, we have some of the highest gas prices. I was just paying over $4 a gallon for regular gas, where I have friends and family in the East Coast paying $3. So we can benefit from the efficiencies of EVs like this Tesla. But the other thing that people don't think about is maintenance. The Model 3, don't just take my word for it, do your own research. The Model 3 right now is the lowest ownership cost of pretty much any other vehicle on the road. And that's because there's really not that much to service or fix on it. You know, a gas car has thousands of moving parts. Internal combustion engines are very complex. They need oil changes. They have, complex coolant systems, emission control systems, where an electric motor and a battery is very simple. The technology it takes to make the battery pack, to write the software, to control the inverters and all that stuff, that's complex. But once you have that down, like Tesla does, and you actually have the vehicle constructed, aside from that, it's gravy. It's like owning an appliance. It's like a power drill or a refrigerator or dishwasher. You don't need a lot of regular daily maintenance. Pretty much your maintenance is, you'll have to replace tires, and if you don't behave yourself with all this power this thing makes an instant torque, you can go through tires pretty fast. The brakes with regenerative braking uses the electric motors to slow the vehicle down to recapture battery, making it more efficient. So the actual brakes get used a lot less than versus a regular vehicle. So it's not uncommon for Teslas to have brakes still good at 150,000+ miles. You might never need to do brakes to this thing. There's wiper blades, a cabin filter. Tesla charges like $65 to rotate tires, $75 for a new cabin filter. The cost of maintenance and repairs seems to be pretty low on Teslas. I've bought and sold hundreds of these Teslas over the years. I own a Tesla, so I have a lot of experience in repairing and servicing these Teslas. They are fantastic. And they're also American. Tesla's an American success story, one of the most American-made vehicles on the road. Technologically advanced, fast. This thing is just so much fun to drive. And with the full self-driving and the technology, that's another aspect of fun. It's also one of the safest vehicles on the road. When the Model 3 first came out and the NHTSA tested it, it was one of the lowest probabilities of serious injury in a vehicle accident. So with its passive and active safety features, it's safe. With the amazing performance of dual motors and close to, I think it's like 500 horsepower, 0 to 63 seconds, top speed 160 miles an hour. It's one of the fastest sedans on the road. It's also one of the most efficient. So many cool things to talk about. Well, thanks for joining us in this walk around video. My name is Joe. We are Scarff Ford. We sell new Fords, new Isuzus, and a very wide variety of pre-owned vehicles, including lots of EVs, lots of Teslas. We sell all sorts of EVs. Of course, we're a Ford store, so we have lots of new and used, Lightnings and Mach-E's. Those are also fantastic. Polestars, BMW EVs. I can go on and on. We have such a a wide variety of vehicles on our lot. It's so much fun working here. If you enjoy this content, we have stuff coming out all the time. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.